Welcome, everyone. So I'm supposed to talk to you about AI and how you can integrate that in your Power Platform environment. So as you can see, this is a session that I originally did at Community Summit, I guess about a month ago. And so we're going to talk through it today, and I have a couple demos, but pretty casual session. So feel free to interrupt with questions. I can't guarantee that I know the answer to all of them, but happy to help or find somebody who does know the answer. So all of you have met me before. I'm Kylie Kiser, Business Applications MVP based in Washington, D.C., and I lead this chapter group that all of you have come here today for. But I've been doing Dynamics for about 10 years and the Power Platform, I guess, since it started. But I'm relatively new to a lot of these AI builder topics, and that's why I wanted to talk about them and learn more about them. So what we're going to work through today is a high-level overview of what AI Builder is. We're going to walk through a demo of the forms processing capabilities. We're going to do a driver's license demo, which some of you saw previously at this chapter a few months ago when Steve was here. Then we're going to talk about an overview of cognitive services, and then we're going to answer any questions. You do not have to tweet your questions to me. You could just ask me. And I'll check in the chat towards the end of the session too to make sure I catch any that are there. All right, so let's talk about an overview of AI Builder and what that is. Basically, AI Builder is a part of the Maker portal that allows you to create AI models in a kind of point and click fashion. So I am not a developer, but I can create these easily. There are some that are pre-built, so you can just start using them. You don't need to do anything with them. Or there are custom models that you can modify and make them specific for your business, right? Or your forms or things like that. And you can continue to refine these and train these more after you start using them. So we're going to jump right into the forms processing demo. And I just think this is like the coolest thing because what we're going to do in less than 10 minutes, I hope, is build a model that we're going to have a paper form that you can take a picture of and then get that data right into Dataverse. So kind of the use case we're working off of is maybe I'm somebody at a booth somewhere who's getting registration forms, and I want to be able to get that data into Dynamics right away. And maybe I want workflows that fire off of this data and things like that. But basically, we want to eliminate someone manually typing or keying something in and try and eliminate errors that way and really just reduce the time. So when we talk about forms processing, we can be talking about handwritten forms or forms that are typed into we need at least 5 different forms to be able to do this. And you can use multiple form layouts. So if I use different registration forms at different events, I could set up both of those in my forms processing model. There was some new things added recently in Wave 1. I think we also talked about Wave 2 at some point, but it doesn't matter. It's not here on my screen. So some of the recent updates are around signature detection, improved recognition for tables, and better defining the data types that you're capturing. Also, there's a lot of updates around which languages you can use. Previously, it was only English, but a lot of those things are changing, right? So when we talk about our limitations, previously a limitation was around checkboxes. You couldn't use a checkbox, but that is rolling out right now. And if the tables were too complex or if you were using a fillable PDF, you can't support those right now. But like we said, all this stuff is getting better and better, new things coming out. You can't be using files that are password protected because you need to be able to get in there. And right now, only English characters. But again, more and more language support is coming. There was an announcement for part of Wave 2 that was new languages. Cool. So we're going to do a quick demo, and what I'm going to start with is showing you the final Power App that we're going to build, and then we're going to build that whole thing from scratch. And again, I have done this several times, so I'm comfortable with the process, but it does change and there are just new enhancements coming all the time. When I built out this demo last week, everything was different from when I captured the screenshots and the process that's in this doc just a few weeks prior to that, right? But it'll be fun. And as I said, I'm not super technical, I'm not a developer, but still able to just set this up really point and click. So let me jump over there somewhere here. Cool. So let me start our demo so you can see what our final process is going to look like. So we created a phone app and we can click analyze. We're going to click one of our forms here. And what's happening is now it is running the form processing model, and it's going to read each of these fields. And when it has completed, it'll show what the fields are and its confidence in those, in that, what it's read, right? And I can submit that, and it's just going to pop that right into a form in Dynamics, or a, create new form, and I can submit that. And then I can go right back and submit another one. So if we look over in our app and we refresh, we can see Mr. Squeegee here was created. And so let's go ahead and build out this whole processing model. So how we're going to start that, we're just going to go to our AI builder. You can see they also keep integrating more and more learning right into the process, right? So here's where you can get more information. Here's where you can see about the different models that are available. And we can see some of these models are pre-built models, meaning I can just start using them right now in Power Apps or in Flow or whatever. And that's kind of what we're going to see in the next demo. And you can see we have different models of things here that we can try out. And a lot of these, like what's really cool, our sentiment model, that's all pre-built. So that's something, anytime I get a response in Power Apps, in Flow, I can just call this and get a sentiment back right there as I'm working without needing to do anything, basically. But anyways, we're going to build our form processing model. So we're looking here at our form processing custom model. Go ahead, create that guy. And I'm going to say, we're going to use a custom model. Going to get started. And so our first step here is going to be around putting in the data, or putting in the forms that we're going to work on. So they want to know what data is going to be in our form. So we're going to add a field for first name. You saw my simple form. We're going to add a field for last name. We're going to add business phone. If I can spell. And we're going to add a field for email. As you can see, this is also where I could add checkboxes. That's new. That was not here when I did this earlier, or at the end of last week. And we can add paid tables as well that we can extract information from, but we're keeping it simple for today. So next, we're going to add our collections of documents. And so a collection is just a layout, right? So as I said, you could have multiple layouts of documents. And if we did that, then we'd have multiple collections. But in this case, we're just going to have one collection. I'm going to add some documents here. We'll add our first 5. And we're going to wait while those upload. And then after that, we will tag them. And we just have to tag all those fields that we said exist in them. We're going to tell them where they do exist. So right now it's reviewing the forms, and then I'm going to go through and say, okay, what field is what? So one thing that you'll notice when we set up this form is we made sure that there's space between these fields. The first time I tried to build this, there was a little bit of issues because the form was small and things are overlapping, and that's going to cause you problems. So we want to keep it more, we want to keep them separated, and we also want to make sure that our sample data is varied, right? So if we had forms that had a date on it, for instance, we want to make sure our sample forms don't all have the same date, because it won't identify that as data that's changing on our forms, right? So let's tag these guys. This is our first name. This is our last name. I'm going to tag our phone number, and we're going to tag our email address. And you can see it's telling us what it's getting. It's not 100% perfect, but it's working on it. And then we're just going to go through all of our forms. And previously, I was seeing more of these fields automatically getting tagged as I went form to form. Did I just do that wrong? No, that's right. But doesn't seem to be doing that. I think it depends on like we said, so many things are changing as we're working on this. But we're just going to select all these guys, hoping none of these phone numbers are real from numbers that I made up. I apologize if Mr. Bumpkin starts getting phone calls. All right, we're going to do our last one. Excellent, excellent. We're going to click next, and then we're going to let this train our model. So we have just created an AI model in like 2 minutes. And so what we're going to do is we're going to train this, and then we're going to publish that model, and then we can make use of it in our Power Apps. So we're going to go to our model. This is our new model, which I'm going to rename. Oh, it's still training. We'll wait patiently, and then we'll put this into an app. We'll see how patiently I wait anyways.
So Kylie, what did you up, or I guess those forms, those are PDFs that you uploaded, or?
Oh yeah, good question. So yeah, those are PDF forms that I just, let me find them here. So those were just PDF samples that I created, and I think I can use PDFs or JPEG, or there's one other file type I can use. But yeah, all of these, I created this just as a like Word document, and then I filled them out handwritten, because it's much better to watch a handwritten form be read in than a typed form, right? Hand wrote them and then just scan them back in as PDFs.
And then you uploaded those into a Power App, essentially.
Yeah, I uploaded them into the collection in our model.
Okay.
All right, let's rename this guy so we don't get confused, and then we're going to publish him. Excellent. And let's go ahead and publish this model, and then we can start using him. And you'll see right from here where I created this, I can do tests of the model, and I can continue to train the model as well if I wanted to. So like if we use one of these other documents, then we can just test the model on its own. And this will do the same thing we were seeing in our demo app, right? It's going to go through and try and identify the fields that we told them about, and it's going to give us a confidence score of what it has there. And you see it did pretty well on most of these, but you can tell where there's some spaces here and things like that. But I think all of our letters are correct. So that's excellent. All right, our model has been published. Great. So we're going to go ahead and create an app for this. So I'm going to create a Canvas app. I'm going to make it for a phone. And we're going to go ahead and do this. Our first step is going to be to ignore the pop-ups that arrive. Even if they have helpful information, we don't care. Go away. And we're just going to drop in our AI Builder form processor. Put them right here on our screen. Yes, take all my money, please. And I can choose this form, the form processing model we just created. And let's go ahead and you drop a form in here so we have some data to work with. To use somebody we haven't used before. You can see it analyzing. And we're going to drop a button on here to submit. All right, we're going to add a new screen to this app that's just going to be one of our form screens. And we're going to connect this up to our contacts in Dataverse, because that's where we want to deposit this data, right? So we're going to change this to say contact, and let's update our fields here. Edit fields, go away. We're going to add our first name and last name. Oh, did I do that right? Yes. Excellent, excellent.
Hey, Kylie, I don't know if you I was just wondering, like, so like I missed kind of how you added the AI model to the app on the last screen.
It was just like that. Yeah, I'll show you. Let's add a new screen and you can see it. So yeah, just from here where you're on your screen, you can just go to Insert AI Builder. And then we chose our form processor, and then you just choose the model.
Okay. All right.
And then we're done.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I missed that.
No, you're fine. It's quick and easy. Okay, let me kill that. Die. Okay, so now all we need to do is take our data from our first screen and we're going to put it in this screen, right? So this form by default, we changed it to a new form, not an edit form. And then for each of these data points, we just need to make it reference the field from the, whatever it's called, from the form processing model. Let me pull up my instructions, because I forget how to do this step every single time. Skippity skip, skippity skip. All right, yeah. So then we're just here, we're gonna set our default to the form processing model. So I'm just going to go to my form processor 1.fields, name. And then we're going to do the same thing for all 4 of our fields. I'm just going to copy that part. Oh, not remove. Come on, guys. Oh, that's the wrong thing, guys. Don't judge, I broke something. Where's your error? Help me.
Oh, no.
It's fighting with me.
The first name.
There it goes. There we go.
There you go.
It didn't want to have it today, you know? Which I can understand, but get it together, guys. It's demo time. We're gonna add our email and we're gonna add our business phone. So we gotta unlock this, we gotta drop it in, choose our email, choose our business phone. Perfect. And we're gonna go ahead and change the order of these fields too, because we want them to match our other thing so we don't get confused. And so the last thing we need to do is just hook up all our buttons. So on our first screen, we can make our submit button navigate over to the other screen, navigate to our screen 2. Fade. Why not? And let's click that guy. And then on our screen here, we're going to set these guys. And the difficult one is our submit button because we want to do a few things here. Yes, we're submitting the form. That's right. We also want to reset this form. So next time I come here, it's blank. Yeah. We also want to reset our form processor model so that there's nothing else in there. And then we're going to navigate back to screen 1. And of course, you should be giving all of your screens nicer names than this so that we can, so that, you know, it's accessible, so that other people can use it, so that your other developers can use it. But today we didn't do that. But yeah, so now we can click on that submit button, we can watch it work, and it can go back here. So let's save this guy and make sure we can watch it from the beginning and make sure it's working as we expect. Let's jump back to here. All right, so this guy we created 10 seconds ago. Not really. Let's analyze another form. Get one of these that we haven't used yet. It's reviewing skedaddle here. To fill out, the most important question, guys, is to fill out these forms. I went to funnywords.com or somewhere like that. I searched for a random funny word generator and then used them for people's names. That's how I make sample data. So you can see it's identified all of those and it has a percentage score for that. We can't see it, it's a little small, but that's okay. And we'll jump over, it puts all of them here. And we have the ability to update this if we needed to before we submit it. If we wanted to fix any issues, we'll check it off and it drops it in. And because we designed this for a phone, if we were using it on the phone app, when I click that analyze button, it's going to give you the option to either upload from your photo library or from your camera, right? So I could just take a picture and write into the app. So let's refresh our list of contacts. And you can see Squeegee and Skedaddle, who we created, now are here. So I think relatively simple example, but I think it's super cool because we can sit here as a regular person clicking around and we can create an app like that so quickly, right? Train it and customize it for a business. So I have one other demo I want to show you too, which is for using a driver's license demo. For using the driver's license AI builder. And all these demo files are available, and we're just going to use Power Automate to extract some of this data. So let's jump back here. And this was something that Steve talked about a few meetings ago, but there is this federal business applications GitHub area, and there are some demos within here. So all of this I just downloaded and dropped into my environment. And you can do the same thing to try this out. This is the AI Builder driver's license demo. And so let's pop that driver's license demo open. And what this is doing is we have the ability to upload the photo of a driver's license. So let's choose this. We have some demo driver's licenses here. Let's pick this person from Maine. And then we can process that. And what's happening when we click this process button is it's going out to Power Automate and dropping this photo in and then getting back all of the data within that photo, and as well as a confidence score. And so, like we said, this is something, if we go to our AI builder, our driver's license model is one of these pre-built models. So we didn't do anything to we didn't do anything to get that. It's just this identity model, I believe, just to grab that out. And we can look at this solution. Let me show you the Power Automate that was used for this. I know I have run this before. Apparently not. We'll take a look. I don't know why it needs a connection when it was already running. That's a problem for another day. But you can see all we're doing in this Power Automate, right? We're dropping in our image from our Power App and then using the AI Builder model for the identity documents. We're dropping the image there and then just sending all of that data back to the Power App. And all of this data is just coming out of that form, out of the AI Builder model. So we didn't have to do any of the logic. We didn't have to configure the model. We just had to line it up with the data how we wanted to bring that data back.
I think if you delete the connection that you have, I've seen that before. If you delete the connection back in the Maker portal and then come back into it, it will rectify itself.
Yeah, it was probably just fighting with me, but it was working. You saw the demo, believe me. So, but yeah, so super cool little process. So just want to jump back there. And like I said, for that demo is all available for you in GitHub in the link, and you can just go there, download it, and it's ready to use. So definitely encourage you to play around with that. And a lot of the other pre-built models that we looked at are similar, right? If we go back to let's go back to our AI builder. Life is being hard to me today. Jamie, you were right. I shouldn't have said the demo was working. Now all my links go the wrong places.
I tried. I really did.
I didn't offer my sacrifice to the demo gods. But yeah, so as we said, we have all these other pre-built models and they work the same way. And they'll be, all of these will say if you can use them via Power Automate or via Power Apps, or possibly both, and what you need to use for them. So like if we look at our sentiment, it's going to tell us some of that information, and then we can start going ahead and using it, and super cool. So let's jump over and talk a little bit about cognitive services. And so I'm definitely not an expert on cognitive services, but it's pretty cool. So AI Builder is built on top of cognitive services. So the less technical people like me can use AI Builder, which is going to be using all that cognitive services stuff behind the scenes. But if you need something more advanced, that's when you'd want to look at cognitive services and using all their different APIs. There's 5 different categories of APIs within cognitive services: vision, speech, language, decision, and search. So when we talk about vision, that's things like image processing, facial recognition, face algorithms. Our speech area is going to be things like translation, text to speech. Language is for language understanding, anything where we're talking about natural language, interpreting natural language, building questions and answers from data, analyzing text, things like that. And then decision is things like detecting anormalities, content moderation, personalizing things, and things like that. And all of this can still be low code. So for those of you who have been in our chapter for a little while, I think last year about this time, Aiden and I did a presentation that you're seeing the GIF of on the right-hand side, which is figuring out what celebrity you look like. And so this was using the Face API, but you still didn't really need to be a developer. You needed to understand some technical stuff, but you didn't have to be writing code. We were basically copying keys from different areas and linking things up, but still was a low code application that we basically, as you saw, you take somebody's picture, it's going to run through a flow that's comparing their face with a bunch of celebrity faces that we had loaded into OneDrive. And then it was returning the face that was the celebrity face that was most similar to your face, right? And that was using the Face API. And again, like I said, all of that was low code as well. So I think the big question is around, what do you want to do? How do you choose between AI Builder and cognitive services? And a lot of this is related to who's your audience, right? As we said, AI Builder is going to be easier for your makers or people like me who might still be a little bit technical, but not a full-fledged developer. Whereas cognitive services is for kind of more developer, more technically minded people. AI Builder does give you the pre-built and customizable models, whereas cognitive services, you don't have to stick to those models. You can kind of extend or do whatever you want using their APIs. And then the big question is licensing and how that works. So what's interesting is that AI Builder has credits, right? So it's like $500 a month for so many credits. And then based on how much capacity you need and how many credits you're using, then that determines how much you have to pay in those $500 increments. Now, what we didn't include in this slide is the change that Jamie was talking about, how some credits are included automatically with your Power Apps plan and things like that. And I do think that price tag can scare people away because cognitive services is a lot cheaper, but you just have to remember that with AI Builder, you are getting the flexibility of the flexibility of these pre-built models and stuff that you don't have to build and maintain and things like that. But there are some other great resources around all of this, a great blog by Eric, and then also the licensing calculator, which is really helpful to walk through and show you kind of how the pricing works. I'm going to open that guy up as well because we didn't look at them. But as you can see, if we're going to process like 100 business cards, then we can calculate that, and you're only going to need 1 unit. But if we were going to look at, say, our forms processing, and let's say we're going to do 1,000 of those forms, that might still fit into our 1 unit, but you'll notice that this has a little item here that's talking about how many pages we have, and some of this, this calculator is using certain assumptions in its calculations around how many fields are on that form and things like that. So depending on the number of fields on your form, the number of pages on your form can impact the number of credits you need to use and how that fits into here. So we can see, you can kind of plan that out to figure out what makes sense for you. But I did also want to show you some other, that's incorrect, this one. I had some other cognitive services guys pulled up that we can look at. So the cognitive services site is really good to check out because it does walk through all of the different APIs that we have here. And you'll see on each of these pages, I think I had opened a few of these up hidden behind my Teams bar. You'll see they have examples for you to follow as well, right? So you can look at this face verification to compare your driver's license with other photos, or compare 2 photos to find if they're the same people. Or we have, image detection, which is going to allow you to, oh, stop fighting with me. Our computer vision that allows you to look, let's see here, identify what's happening here and be able to pull out a lot of information about those photos. and all that cool stuff. And then there's great documentation on all of those as well, so you can kind of dive in and read all about them. Yeah, so that's what I had to cover for you guys today. I did include a whole bunch of resources as well that'll be in the deck, and I'll post it somewhere. So you can check out a lot of these to learn more information and dive in and start playing with it yourself. Lots of great demos from other people in the community, other people that have spoke at our chapter, and lots of great stuff to check out. And finally, you know how to reach me. Here are my details. So, any questions?